Well, after Soros strike and the BBC blitz, now comes the NYT attack. Repeatedly, India is being bashed and its democracy maligned by the non-state actors and agenda-driven foreign ecosystem. But why? And to what end? Well, this time, once again, it is the New York Times. An opinion piece written by Anuradha Bhasin of the Kashmir Times has sparked this controversy. In her op-ed, she says that the repressive media policies are destroying Kashmiri journalism and media outlets are being intimidated into serving as government mouthpiece. She also says that the government is creating information vacuum in the region of Kashmir of 13 million inhabitants and Kashmir may not survive Prime Minister Modi. The op-ed also alleges that digital media amendments have been made to block content that the Modi government does not like, that these are just some of the claims being made against the Indian government. However, the opposition has wholeheartedly endorsed this propaganda as it has been called out by the BJP, hailing it as the absolute truth.
If a line or two or a paragraph, something get published in any newspaper, media, and they say that Modi ji ka danka baj raha hai, and if the things go against them, then they say that it's propaganda. It's such a contradiction. Now when the truth is being covered with them, because they are not in, they don't accept the truth. What they accept is that one side, that there should be praise and no negative side or real side should be shown.
ये हकीकत है कि जो प्रेस की आज़ादी है उसको बिल्कुल सल्ब करके रखा गया, एक किस्म की इमरजेंसी लगी हुई है। किसी ने थोड़ी सी आज़ादी से बोला नहीं तो उसके पीछे पुलिस वाला खड़ा हो जाता है। मैं आपको बताऊंगा कि ये ऐसा नहीं चलता।
But is the NYT trying to paint fiction as facts? Let's put out some of the data. It has hailed the separatist leader Syed Ali Shah Gilani as one of the towering figures of separatism. What it does not say is that NC had accused the Gilani of being on ISI's payroll. In fact, he was charged with sedition in 2010. A case of FEMA violation was also registered against him in 2019. This article also equates the BBC survey to suppression of facts. What it does not say is that the Income Tax Department sources had said that the BBC was non-compliant with its rules of India. Also, there is non-compliance in the transfer pricing rules and deliberate diversion of amounts for profit was the allegation on it. It also says that thousands of innocents' homes were bulldozed and they were left homeless. However, what it does not say is that one of the homes belonged to Ashik Nengru. For example, his home too was demolished. Nengru was an accused in the Pulwama attack. Ghulam Nabi Khan's house was also razed. Ghulam Nabi was designated a terrorist under UAPA. These important parts are also not pointed out in this article. But let's remind you of NYT's rather checkered past as well. Should it be the goalpost when it comes to what truth is? Remember, NYT was called out for its political bias for not adequately reporting on allegations of corruption against Joe Biden's son, Hunter Biden. NYT gave an open platform to Asif Ali Zardari in 2008, the then president of Pakistan, to distance his government from the 26/11 attacks. NYT gave an open platform to Imran Khan to attack India's abrogation of Article 370 in Jammu and Kashmir, something which was completely an internal matter. NYT had described Jammu and Kashmir as living hell of anger and fear in August 2019. NYT had claimed in May 2021 that India's COVID death toll is the worst in the world and could be more than 10 times what was officially reported. NYT was also forced to apologize for its cartoon mocking the Mangalyaan in October 2014. But let's also remind you of the antecedents of the author of this article, Anuradha Bhasin. Well, she is a frequent attendee of ISI-sponsored events as per some of the agencies. Also, she has openly backed ISI operations led by Ghulam Nabi Fai. He is, of course, one of the convicts and firmly absolved Fai in the receiving funds from ISI. Invited to an event where Fai was also presented as one of the speakers. She, of course, is the daughter of Ved Bhasin, who is a staunch supporter and known supporter of ISI operations in Kashmir. Fai even had written a piece on Ved Bhasin after his death. In that obit, he had glorified Ved Bhasin. Ved Bhasin, remember, had also attended ISI-funded events. All of this is part of the facts.
You're watching the News Hour first. Debate number 2 on Times Now, Super Prime Time.
Joining us today on the show, Dr. Anand Ranganathan, and author Majid Hydari is also joining us, a political analyst. Majid Hydari, my first question is going to be for you. We have seen after Soros, there's been Hindenburg, there has been Washington Post articles, now there is New York Times yet again. Is this a concerted strike of non-state actors actively maligning India and its democracy when they are far removed from it?
Well, Meghna Saiba, firstly, what you forgot to tell worthy viewers about the New York Times is that on Gandhi Jayanti in 2019, there was an article, why India and the world need Gandhi. And that article for New York Times was written by none other than our worthy Prime Minister, Honorable Narendra Modi ji. But you didn't tell that because that day New York Times was supposed to be a good paper. The other day is supposed to be the bad paper. And I'll seek a reply to this from Dr. Ranganathan. But second point, yes, verily, there's ruthless corruption in Jammu and Kashmir administration. Modi ji's funds are being looted, but the newspaper, whichever writes against corruption, is denied government advertisements, and any whistleblower or journalist who speaks against that corruption, which is root of Modi ji's Amit Shah ji's funding, are harassed. So those are the two typical pictures which I believe Anuradha Bhasin wanted to highlight, because maybe she is also victim that she is not getting her share of advertisements, the government advertisements, because government advertisement has become a new conspiracy against the Modi government, that the one who writes against corruption is denied government advertisement, the journalist who speaks against corruption is harassed. So it is something for Modi ji to check what is wrong with J&K administration. It's not me to blame anybody, but yes, one important point when you talk about New York Times.
Well, it's interesting. You use the word, Majid Hydari, victim. You use the word victim. Let me go across to Sushil Pandit also, who's joining us. He's an activist. Sushil Pandit, because you too are a representative of Kashmir, auntie. Who decides who's the true representative, who is the fake representative? Do you share the views of Anuradha Bhasin? My simple question.
I mean, far from it. Anuradha Bhasin is the daughter of her father, Ved Bhasin. And as they say, the fruit doesn't fall far from the tree. Ghulam Nabi Fai wrote a fawning obituary when Ved Bhasin died. It appeared in Kashmir Times. And you know who Ghulam Nabi Fai is? Ghulam Nabi Fai was arrested by United States of America for spying in US on behalf of ISI, and he served time there. He is the one who organized conference circuits, junkets for Indian journalists, retired bureaucrats, and busybodies in NGOs to come and conference on J&K, on Kashmir, on occupation of India in Kashmir, on human rights violations in Kashmir, in the garb of representing people. This is who Anuradha Bhasin is. Show me one article she has written all her life about the genocide of Hindus in Kashmir Valley. Show me one article about human rights violations of Kashmiri Muslims within Kashmir at the hands of jihadis. She is and has always been a Hurriyat representative in media debates. She has always represented a separatist point of view. Even when Hurriyat is, she has never let us feel the absence of Hurriyat in media debates. She has always represented a separatist point of view. And this is a continuation of the legacy she represents in the newspaper and her own father.
That legacy continues, and one of the things, and I must point this out to Dr. Anand Ranganathan also, I'll come back to you, Majid Hydari. One of the things that she had said, that her own newspaper office was stormed, then they locked it up. Again, one of the selective things which was not pointed out in this article was that the building was sealed in question, was allotted to Ved Bhasin, her father, by the government, her father, in 1994. Then the government reserves the right to take it back after the death of the allottee. That is what had happened. Do you think that you can look at Anuradha Bhasin as a neutral observer and unbiased journalist reporting the facts on the ground as NYT would have us believe?
Meghna, she is as much a neutral observer as Pakistani umpires of the 1980s. Look, where else would a propagandist write but in a pamphlet produced by a propaganda factory called the NYT? I wouldn't even honestly wrap my kachoris in New York Times for fear of all that toxicity bleeding onto them. To paraphrase Kennedy, ask number one. This is what he said verbatim. India is a bigger enemy of Islam and Muslims than even Israel. 2. Muslims are a qawm wholly separate from the Hindus. The basis of the unity is Islam and Islam alone. 3. Accession to India would result in the Kashmiri Muslims having to live perpetually under Hindu slavery. 4. Kashmir must become an Islamic state, unquote. These are the same journalists, Meghna, and their children who were silent when refugee Melu Ram, one of the 2 lakh West Pakistan refugees who ran for their lives and settled in Kashmir, when Melu Ram and his children were barred from local jobs and welfare schemes. When Dalit Radhika Gill, her family was brought to Kashmir to work as sweepers in 1957, Radhika cleared the BFS entrance exam, but Radhika could only get a job as a sweeper because she wasn't a domicile. When for 70 years the human rights of lakhs of Dalits, Gurkhas, women, Sikhs, refugees were brutally trampled upon by the state and its politicians like Farooq Abdullah delighted in saying, and I quote him, they want to abolish 370 and we'll remain silent. Inshallah, we will fight. We dare them. Allah would want that we gain independence from India, unquote. These are the same journalists, just 30 seconds, who were silent when they, 3 years ago, Supreme Court diabolically rejected reopening cases of criminal atrocity against Kashmiri Hindus because, quote, too much time had elapsed. And these same journalists are silently seething now because while 3 years to 2019, 3686 law and order incidents occurred in Kashmir, 3 years since 2019, the number is only 430. Terror attacks have reduced by 40% in 2018. Sorry, Meghna, just 10 seconds. But there is one thing one has learned over the years. It is that you cannot cure these propagandists. They are like the Rakt Beej. Their every drop of blood spawns more of the same. Final 10 seconds. There are 3 panelists you have right now. I pose one question. I will answer. Sushil will answer. I want my...
Meghna Sahiba, this is a it's really a logical question. That when Dr. Ranganathan says that New York Times is a pamphlet even not worth wrapping a kachori, why did my honorable Prime Minister, the tallest leader of world's largest democracy, write for that pamphlet which is even not worth a kachori? And second point, very important.
I don't think Dr. Ranganathan is going to be answering on the Prime Minister's decision to write in any article. But Majid Haidari, one direct question was asked to you. Can you please answer that?
Please answer that question.
No, the bigger question is that he has tried to malign the image of our democracy. He said that our Prime Minister wrote an article for a pamphlet which is even not worth kachori, and I take very strong exception to that.
Majid Haidari,
he is not Muslim. Anand bhai, come out.
Sayyid Ali Shah Gilani, as per Dr. Ranganathan, is a terrorist. He wants to ask if you will openly call him out today.
What I know is that there are newspapers in Jammu which are Modi bugs which say na khaunga na khane dunga, but they are denied advertisements because they write against corruption.
Majid Haidari, you want me to repeat the same question? Should I keep repeating the same question? Acha, I'll ask you a second question. I'll ask you a separate question. You clearly don't want to answer that. I'll ask you a different question. I'll change the question, Majid Haidari. You're not giving me an answer. Anuradha Bhasin, you say that she's fair, impartial. She's talking about the Kashmiris. How much of investigative work has she done about the Hindu genocide which has happened in Kashmir? Tell us about, list us.
Firstly, MHA has never declared Sayyid Ali Gilani as being a terrorist. Neither a terrorist nor a designated terrorist. So
no one said that she has. That question was for you, Majid Haidari.
Law does not go by his personal speech. First point.
That question was for you, Majid Haidari, but I asked you a different question. Anuradha Bhasin, what has she done for the Hindus who I think all of us have accepted have been victimized? They face one of the longest pogroms in the world. What is the investigative work which has been done? What is the fight for justice that the Kashmir Times has done for them?
Meghna, ask him if Hurriyat was a separatist organization.
Here's another question for you. Is Hurriyat a separatist organization? Sushil Pandit wants to know. Answer to kar dijiye, Majid Haidari. There are so many questions for you don't want to answer.
You have bitten more than you can chew. You have bitten more than you can chew, Haidari Saab.
Okay, Sushil Pandit has...
You got exposed, my brother. My brother, you got exposed tonight. Anuradha Bhasin is not a Muslim. Please understand it, please. Thank you.
Honestly speaking, I don't understand why her religion has anything to do with it. But Sushil Pandit was asking you a question.
Meghna,
okay, Sushil Pandit, go ahead.
Hurriyat office was inaugurated by Meghna's father in Jammu. 20 years ago. Can you believe this? Hurriyat that stands banned today, Hurriyat whose leadership is in the jail today,
is not banned.
Hurriyat that presided over our genocide in
Stop telling
Kashmir.
lies. Hurriyat has not been banned. Please don't tell lies on the national TV. Please. Please don't support
What are
government
you
for the
saying?
sake of it. Hurriyat has not been banned. You are lying through your teeth on the show. This is unfair. We are on national TV. Don't spread lies.
The entire
was never
Hurriyat
banned.
leadership is in jail.
On
Masarat
very serious
Alam, the
charges
current
of
head
terror
leader,
funding, and that, if I
Hurriyat
may
is in
remind you,
jail.
they are all the top
Hurriyat
brass is
has
in
not
jail
been
on very
banned,
serious charges
and
of terror
Sayyid
funding,
Gilani
funds
was
coming
never
straight from
declared a
Pakistan and
terrorist. These
ISI.
are two facts.
Majid
Hurriyat was
Haidari.
never banned and Sayyid Ali Gilani was never a
Achha, what
designated
according
terrorist.
to you
These
is
are
the
two
Hurriyat?
facts.
Will you call it a separatist organization, a secessionist organization, Majid Haidari?
I'll condemn BJP government for not having banned Hurriyat. Can you tell me why Hurriyat has not been banned? Is there some fixed match between BJP and Hurriyat? You want me to spill the beans on the show?
Okay.
Everybody
Dr.
knows
Anand
what BJP's
Ranganathan.
connections have been.
Dr. Anand Ranganathan, in all fairness, that's a fair point. Hurriyat leadership by successive governments have been patronized. From the heads of the states to even former prime ministers, they have been patronized. They've gone and given this long leash. So what if today one person comes out and says that Hurriyat, you have the towering figure of Sayyid Ali Shah Gilani. What's wrong? There are former prime ministers who've met him.
Meghna Sahiba,
Majid Sahab, please give me time now. I
Hey,
didn't
Dr.
interrupt.
Ranganathan, we are running out of time, Majid Haidari. I think you've had your say, Dr.
Majid,
Ranganathan,
I agree
quickly.
this is unfair. This is unfair, Majid Sahab. Please give me time. And I'm going to answer you. I'm going to answer you. Meghna, can I please?
Go ahead, Dr. Ranganathan.
You know, unlike the twinkle toes Mr. Majid Haidari, I don't shirk away from answering questions, and that is how I'm built. So I'll answer all the three questions. I completely condemn and castigate the BJP I have for not banning PFI, which they did. I've been condemning the I condemn it for not declaring Hurriyat as a terrorist organization. I condemn it for not, declaring Sayyid Shah Gilani as a terrorist. Okay? Number two, I also condemn Narendra Modi for writing for New York Times, but I know I have already said
That's
this
a
before.
very fair,
It is for him.
Candid, very fair, very candid answer by Dr. Ranganathan. Unfortunately, we are running out of time, but the big question continues to remain. Who and why has been fueling the anti-India hate, especially in the international ecosystem? I leave it there. Thank you so much, all our viewers, for joining us, all our panelists for putting your views forth here on NewsHour at 9.